Okay, so we're recording now. So today is the 17th of March 2023. It's a Friday, Hari Jumat. I'm with Ibu Ika, or her full name, Tirka Widani, who's the rector of Universitas Ngurah Rai, the University of Ngurah Rai, and also the president of the International School, the Green School in Bali. And I am Nathan Franklin from the Charles Darwin University. I am lecturer in Indonesian Studies. So we're here today to have a little chat about our shared experiences in each other's country. So anyway, that's enough of that.
Thank you, Nathan. What a wonderful day today. It's Friday, 17th March of 2020. Well, we will both talking in English and Bahasa Indonesia.
Sure.
Is about students exchange program. But first, I would like to say hi to our friends in Indonesia.
Sure.
Salam sobat rumah sederhana, WI&TI. Dengan saya Tirka Widanti akan hadir memberikan atau membawakan topik-topik seputar kehidupan yang sederhana, aktivitas pendidikan, kesenian, dan yang ringan lainnya. Itu sebabnya channel saya namanya channel Rumah Sederhana. Nah, kali ini kita mendatangkan teman dari Darwin. Beliau adalah Nathan Franklin, ya, Nathan Franklin. Beliau seorang dosen di Charles Darwin University, Australia. Nanti kita chit-chat siapa beliau. Dan kami berdua akan sharing pengalaman kami selama mengikuti pertukaran siswa. Nah, program pertukaran siswa antara Bali, Indonesia, dengan Darwin, Northern Territory, Australia. Nah, teman-teman semuanya sudah melihat kami dengan masing-masing map-nya, dengan masing-masing petanya ya. Saya dengan peta Pulau Bali, kemudian Nathan dengan Northern Territory. Sungguh luar biasa ya. Well, without further ado, let's start.
Yeah. Ya, Om Swastiastu. Saya senang bisa hadir hari ini mengadakan percakapan ini dengan yang terhormat Ibu Tirka selaku orang besar atau perwakilan Bali yang sangat bagus, yang terkenal dan sangat mulia. Ya, latar belakang saya kalau ingin tahu, saya mulai belajar bahasa Indonesia pada tahun 1989, pada waktu saya kelas 1 SD. Pada waktu itu saya mulai belajar bahasa Indonesia yang sederhana saja, seperti menghitung, seperti alat dan barang di rumah, kursi, meja, dan lain sebagainya. Istilah-istilah keluarga seperti adik, kakak, ibu, bapak, dan lain sebagainya. Tapi pertama kalinya saya ke Indonesia itu tahun 1998, pas waktu Krismon Indonesia. Saya ke Indonesia pada bulan September, dan sangat menarik melihat perkembangan Indonesia pada waktu reformasi itu. Justru saya masih berusia 15 tahun, kelas 1 SMA. So I was a high school student in Indonesia. It was just a study tour. It was just an excursion, bertemasia study tour. Selama 2 minggu kami ke Kuta dan negara di Kabupaten Jembrana, di Bali. Kemudian saya kembali ke Australia melamar pertukaran pelajar. Saya berhasil. Lalu pada tahun 2000 saya dikirim ke Bangli, Kabupaten Bangli sebelah timur. Ya, saya di kota Bangli. Terus saya SMA di sana selama 1 semester. Kemudian saya tamat SMA di Australia. Setelah balik, terus 2 kali kuliah di Universitas Mataram. Kemudian tahun 2006 mulai gelar dokter S3. Saya meneliti peranan politik pesantren. Terus saya ke Jawa Timur untuk meneliti peranan politik pesantren, khususnya NU dan Muhammadiyah. Lalu saya tamat, kemudian menjadi dosen kajian Indonesia di Universitas Charles Darwin sejak tahun 2013, berarti 10 tahun sekarang.
Well, itu background-nya Pak Nathan.
Sorry about that, bit long.
It's okay. Kita akan continue ini. This is the first chat. We will be talking about student exchange program. Then we will be having a more episode on this.
Sure.
As this topic is very important and interesting, yeah. Especially to both of us. Well, we are talking about student exchange program. Pertukaran kita antara Indonesia dengan Darwin Northern Territory, Australia. Do you know, Nathan, when was this student exchange program started?
I know it started in the 1970s. I can't remember exactly the year, but it might have been 1978 or something like that. I do want to find out, and because I have been told before, but it does have a historic, like a long history. So the Northern Territory of Australia, Wilayah Utara, Australia, in the 80s and 90s, we had the most developed Indonesian language programs in all of Australia. So students at primary school, middle school, and high school, that was the main language. So pretty much something like 80 or 90% of students would do that language, at least for a few years. So I learned Indonesian every year that I was at school. I think maybe the only year that I didn't do it was in grade 4, kelas 4 SD. So I have had a long understanding of Indonesia. And the good thing about when we were learning Indonesian, we were told things like, where's the capital? Jakarta, who's the president? Back then was Suharto. What was the population? I think back then we were saying something like 135 or 150 million or 170 million. What are the national foods? What are the ethnicities? Suku bangsa, so there's Balinese, there's Javanese. And we sort of understood that there was this national identity as well. I didn't understand it at the time until later. But what we were being taught was Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, the berbeda tetapi satu. So different but one, a unity and diversity. And we were kind of taught, this, like some of the history and these things about Indonesia. But I could never understand what that really meant until I went to Indonesia. And then I knew that there were different peoples. Even on the same island, you have different groups. So I found that quite wonderful. Everyone spoke Bahasa Indonesia, but they also had their regional language, Bahasa Daerah. And people were very proud of being Indonesian, but also Balinese or Sasak from Lombok or Orang Jawa, Javanese, Madura, whatever. So even though they might be living in Bali, some would say, well, I'm Javanese, so when I pulang kampung, I go to Java. And but yeah, there was this richness of culture which you can see in Indonesia. You just have to walk the streets and you can see how that has enriched Indonesia. So yeah, I was very fortunate that the Northern Territory had that program in the 80s and 90s. Unfortunately, that isn't as strong. It's still there. Indonesian is still taught in schools in the Northern Territory and in Australia, but not to the same extent that it was. And that's because there are other languages that are taught. But back in those days, in the 80s and 90s and into the early 2000s, there was a lot more student exchanges, like yearly exchanges. So there wasn't just the Northern Territory and Bali and like NTB, Nusa Tenggara Barat, or NTT, Nusa Tenggara Timur. But I think Adelaide also had a regular one. So South Australia, I do know that. And I think there was some other from a few of the other states, but I don't know too much about that. But certainly anything that's happened like that hasn't happened for a few years, and not just because of COVID. Yeah, I think unfortunately Australia's focus on Indonesia hasn't been as strong. Sorry, you're
Yeah.
a little bit soft. I couldn't hear.
We will find out about that one.
Yeah, sure.
Why this great program is postponed or is stopped. Okay, both of you and I will be finding out.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, you said that yeah, I have been told too that this student exchange program was started in 1978 or so. And I interviewed someone, one of the students that first time did this program.
Wow.
Actually, you went to Bali you just told us that you went to Bali for this program in 1998.
No, 1998 was just a study tour, was just an excursion, 2 weeks. It wasn't a full exchange. Yeah. That was in the year 2000.
Oh, year 2000. Then for the student exchange program itself, when did you do?
Yeah, 2000, in the year 2000.
In the year 2000. I did my students exchange program in 1982.
Wow. That's
40
unbelievable.
years ago.
Wow. Yeah, 41 years ago.
It was, amazing experience to me. It was first time for me to go abroad, naik kapal terbang.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, in 1982, I was 14 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
14 years old.
Yep.
Then I was in third grade of middle school, SMP.
Yep.
Well, I remember that I was the youngest. We were sent four students. Them are all were all in high school. I was the only one who was in middle school. Yeah.
Wow.
To me, it is very touching, and to me, apa namanya? It is carrying out or carrying over to my career.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are currently a lecturer of Charles Darwin University. It is hard to get that opportunity, that position is, yeah. And
Sure.
I believe myself too. But I also work at the international company or international school. If I do not speak a little bit English, of course, I cannot be there.
Sure.
What we mean here is this student exchange program a huge potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you, Nathan?
Yes, exactly the same. But obviously in the opposite way, opposite direction. So I went to Bali. I was in Bangli, and saya juga merasa tersanjung dan sangat beruntung waktu itu. But the thing that really made me grow up, if you like, made me understand the importance of what I was doing was when I first went to Bali for the high school exchange in the year 2000, and we met the Bupati of Bangli.
Do you still remember the name?
Oh, I can't remember. I'm sorry. It was just Pak Bupati.
Pak Bupati
Pak
Bangli.
Bupati, yeah, Bupati, Pak Bupati. So,
Okay.
so so we were sitting in these big chairs, like the wooden ones, and they got the like lambang, like Boma or Garuda or whatever. And I just remember sitting in this big chair thinking, wow, I'm just a student. I'm 16. So I turned 17 when I was there. And there was actually 6 of us that went to Bali. 2 were in Bangli, 2 were in oh no, I think it was only 5 in the end. There was 2 in Tabanan and 1 was in somewhere in Kuta. So there should have been 10, but for some reason the other 5 couldn't go at that time. So there was 2 in Bangli, 2 in Tabanan, sorry, Tabanan, 2 in Tabanan and 1 in Kuta. And so I just remember I was with the other exchange student girl who was in Bangli, and we went to see the Bupati, and it was all formal and, tamu harus melapor and, all this sort of stuff. And it really made me feel welcome, like they took us seriously. And then I learned so much about Bali and the culture, Hinduism. Before class, we would sing say the sutra, Om Burbhasavati Tamarena Bargo Devasi Udimahi Dioyona Prachoyan. So, and like Om Swastiastu, and I was learning Balinese too. So not just Indonesian. My Indonesian was pretty good. And so I was learning Balinese, but I only wanted to learn Bahasa Halus. I didn't want to learn Bahasa Kasar or Bahasa Sedang. I wanted to memperlakukan orang lain dengan sopan dan hormat. So, so I really like that, those concepts. And then so because I'd put in this effort, I thought I should continue my studies at university. And the more I read about Indonesian history, about politics, about its culture, I just fell in love more and more about, there was such richness in Indonesia. I mean, Bali is a paradise, and there's so much history, so much
Close
there.
by Darwin, yeah?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, from Darwin to Bali, a flight is about 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours, 15 minutes. To fly to Brisbane is nearly 4 hours. So it's closer to go to Bali than any other capital cities around Australia and the States, in the other states. So here we are in Darwin, the north of Australia, closer to Indonesia than almost every other major, well, all the other major capital cities. And so I was looking north, not south. So even though my family were from the south, my mother's from Melbourne, her family's in Melbourne. My father's from Brisbane, his family's in Brisbane. So it was just my parents and my sister and I in Darwin. But I kept wanting to go to Indonesia. I didn't want to go to Melbourne or Brisbane. I really loved Indonesia. So yeah, 25 years later, after first going there, when I say, I don't like to say I'm an expert on Indonesia, but I know some things about Indonesia. So yeah. But look, the high school exchange for me, I think, and I know it did this for other students too, is they did stuff with it. Many of them used their language to go into the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, or one of the other federal agencies. Some became teachers and taught Indonesian at school. Some married Indonesian people, Balinese people. Some of the girls married, Indonesian men. some of the, and then vice versa, some of the Australian men married Indonesian women. So there was, this other exchange as well. Yeah, so I think a bit like you, Ibu Ika, if it wasn't for that exchange, my path in life would be different. Nasib saya jauh berbeda. So yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry.
don't say that. We are all the same, but we are here to discuss about what is the benefit. Of course, there is a strength and also there is a weakness on this program. We are going to share, but I'm sure that so today we do not have enough time. And so people will bored seeing us. So, so this is we just memperkenalkan. I mean, to introduce the program. So today we are only introducing the program, the Students Exchange program. Yeah, and this program was very useful in the 1970, 80, and 2000 decade. Well, like you did 20 years ago, yeah, you still remember. And even I did 40 years and more, and I still falling in love with Darwin. I always want to go to Darwin, even though my friends always questioning why. And they, of course, well, well, my first law. Yeah,
Sure.
I always also say that, well, Darwin is my second country.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we will be continuing next week. Yeah, Pak Nathan, yeah, is
Sure.
to talk on, to discuss and to find out more about this program. And if we can, both of us, we can continue this program in what way, maybe the strategy, and also the model, yeah, because in Indonesia now we have MBKM, yeah, Merdeka Belajar Kampus Merdeka, like that. And we need to do the exchange program, the exchange knowledge, exchange culture, and so on. And the world is very, very small. So to say like this.
That's
Okay,
right.
very nice talking with you.
Thank you.
We are going. We will be continue our chit chat, our discussion, next time. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and I hope the people watching this get some benefit from it. But
And also, our dear friends, in everywhere you are, if you want to share, if you want to discuss, or maybe talk like this, and share about your experience, please contact us. Yeah, please contact me or contact Nathan in Darwin. Contact me in Bali, and we are going to do something on this one. And now it's time to say sampai di sini ya, sobat rumah sederhana di ini program Rumah Sederhana di channel saya, Rumah Sederhana WI&TI. WI&TI is WI&TI, dan sampai jumpa nanti untuk session berikutnya dengan topik yang sama, yaitu program pertukaran siswa antara Bali Indonesia dengan Darwin Northern Territory Australia, or Northern Territory Australia. Sampai jumpa. Terima kasih.